Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriraj Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriraj Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriraj Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriraj Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Srila Gurudeva.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajaka Astotra Satasri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajaka Stotra Satasri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Lord. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Do we have a system for writing the verse on the board?
Oh yeah, on the board, you have a whiteboard with.
Whiteboard, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Which verse? Which verse?
2, 3, 23. This. I think I'll stack them in the meantime.
Sound is good. ये sound बहुत कम है. 323. 2 323.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Please repeat. Jivan, Chavo, Bhagavatangri, Renum, Na, Jatu, Martyo, Bilabeta, Yes, Tu, Shri, Vishnu, Padya, Manujas, Tulasya, Shvasan, Chavo, Yes.
Yes.
Tu.
Tu.
Naveda.
Naveda.
Gandham.
Gandham.
Jivanchavo Bhagavatang Grirenum.
Jivanchavo
Najatu Martyo Bilabetayastu.
Najakumartyo vilavetayastu.
Shri Vishnupadya Manujastulasya.
Vishnu Padya Manujastulasya.
Swasanchavo Yastu Naveda Gandham. Jivanchavo Bhagavatang Grirenum.
Jivanchavo Bhagavatang Grirenum.
Najatu Martyo Bilabetayastu.
Najatu Martyo Vilavetayastu.
Shri Vishnupadya Manujastulasya.
Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastulasya.
Swasanchavo Yastu Naveda Gandham.
Swasanchavo Yastu Naveda Gandham.
Can somebody turn this one off?
Jivanchavo Bhagavatam Virenum.
Najatu Martyo Bilabetayastu.
Shri Vishnupadya Manujastulasya.
Shri
Vishnupadya Manujastulasya. Swasanchavo Yastu Naveda Gandham. Jivanchavo Bhagavatam Virenum. Najatu Martyo Vilagetayastu. Shri Vishnupadya Manujastulasya. Swasanchavo Yastu Naveda Gandham.
Jivanchavo Bhagavatam Grirenum.
Jivanchavo Bhagavatam Virenum.
Najatu Martyo Bilabetayastu.
Najatu Martyo Vilavetayastu.
Vishnupadya Manujastulasya.
Shri Vishnupadya Manujastulasya.
Swasanchavo Yastu Naveda Gandham.
Swasanchavo Yastu Naveda Gandham. Vaishnavis.
Jivanchavo
Bhagavatam Grirenum.
Najatu Martyo
Vilavetayastu.
Shri Vishnupadya
Manujastulasya. Swasanchavo Yastu Naveda Gandham. Jivan.
Jivan.
While living.
While living.
Shava.
Shava.
A dead body.
A dead body.
Bhagavatang Grirenum.
Bhagavatam Virenum.
the dust of the feet of a pure devotee.
The dust of the feet of pure devotee.
Na,
Na,
never,
never.
jatu,
Jatu,
at any time.
at any time.
Martya,
Madhya,
mortal.
mortal.
Abhilabheta,
Abhilabheta,
particularly received.
particularly received.
Ya,
Ya,
a person.
the person.
To,
To,
but.
but.
Shri,
Shri,
with opulence.
with opulence.
Vishnupadya,
Vishnupadya,
of the lotus feet of Vishnu.
of the lotus feet of Vishnu.
Manuja,
Manuja,
a descendant of Manu,
the descendant of Manu.
a man.
A man.
Tulasya,
Tulasya,
leaves of the Tulsi tree.
leaves of the Tulsi tree.
Swasan,
Swasan,
while breathing.
while breathing.
Shava,
Sava,
still a dead body.
still a dead body.
Ya,
Ya,
who,
who,
to,
who,
but.
but.
Naveda,
Naveda,
never experienced.
never experienced.
Gandham,
Gandham,
the aroma.
the aroma.
Translation. The person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the aroma of the Tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. Please repeat. The person who has not
The person who has not
at any time received
at any time received
the dust of the feet
the dust of the feet
of the Lord's pure devotee
of the Lord's pure devotee
upon his head
upon his head
is certainly a dead body.
is certainly a dead body.
And the person who has never experienced
The person who has experienced
the aroma of the Tulsi leaves
the aroma of the Tulsi leaves
from the lotus feet of the Lord
from the lotus feet of the Lord
is also a dead body,
is also a dead body,
although breathing.
although breathing.
Report by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the breathing dead body is a ghost. When a man dies, he is called dead. But when he again appears in a subtle form, not visible to our present vision, and yet acts, such a dead body is called a ghost. So there's more to the purport, but I will stop and comment as we go along. So, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna, he has 8 separated energies. Bhumi, Apo, Nala, Vayo, earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And apart from these 8 inferior energies, apara prakriti, are the living entities who are superior, Paraprakriti. So when the living entity leaves the body, his subtle body, which is also material but subtle, mind, intelligence, and ego, accompany him to the next body, and then he gets a gross body. Unless he's perfect in Krishna consciousness, then he gets a spiritual body. So ghosts are living entities who have only the subtle body, but not gross body. Now, how does one become a ghost? I mean, I'm not suggesting it, I'm just discussing how it happens. The most common way is if one commits suicide. If someone commits suicide, in effect, the person is saying he or she does not want a gross body. That's the most common way, but another way is if someone is very attached to a house, like a mansion or a castle, and one thinks of that castle at the time of death, then he or she can take birth as a ghost in that building. So, ghosts are always very bad elements, always creating a fearful situation for others. So ghosts have gross material desires. I mean, people commit suicide because they have material desires which are not fulfilled, and so they feel so disappointed and frustrated that they take their own lives. So they have material desires, but they don't have a physical body through which to fulfill their desires. And so they try to gain possession of someone else's body so they can fulfill their desires through the senses of that person. And so they create a fearful situation. So what can we do about ghosts, or for ghosts? Well, we can chant the holy names. In fact, then they go away. And they also get some benefit by hearing the holy name. But because of this tendency of people to become attached to their mansions or palaces or castles, sometimes those buildings are haunted. And so they go on the market for a much reduced price because people don't want to buy a haunted house. But Srila Prabhupada said we can buy these nice properties and chant Hare Krishna, and the ghosts will go away, and we'll have a nice temple for Krishna. So ghosts are always very bad elements, always creating a fearful situation for others. Similarly, the ghost-like non-devotees who have no respect for the pure devotees, nor for the Vishnu deity in the temples, create a fearful situation for the devotees at all times. The Lord never accepts any offering by such impure ghosts. So the Lord does not need anything that we can offer him because he already possesses everything. I mean, he is everything, and everything is either him or an expansion of his energy. So he doesn't really need anything. But what he appreciates is our love and devotion. Patram pushpam phalam tayam yome bhakya prayachati. One offers with love and devotion a leaf, a fruit, a flower, or some water. Krishna will accept it. So non-devotees, by definition, have no devotion, and so the Lord never accepts offerings from them. There is a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. There's a saying, love me, love my dog. The stage of pure devotion is attained by sincerely serving the pure devotee of the Lord. In other words, the pure devotee is like the Lord's pet dog. So one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any sentiments for the beloved. And Srila Prabhupada said that these neck beads, in the early days of ISKCON, devotees asked him about the significance of the neck beads, and he said they're like a dog collar, which shows that we are Krishna's dogs. There is a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. The stage of pure devotion is attained by sincerely serving a pure devotee of the Lord. The first condition of devotional service to the Lord is therefore to be a servant of a pure devotee. And this condition is fulfilled by the statement, reception of the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, who has also served another pure devotee. That is the way of pure disciplic succession, or devotional parampara. So, Srila Rupa Goswami enumerates 64 items of devotional service in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but the first, Ado Guru Padashraya, the first is to take shelter of the lotus feet of a spiritual master, who in turn has taken shelter of the lotus feet of his spiritual master, who in turn has taken shelter of the lotus feet of his spiritual master, all the way back to Krishna, who is the original spiritual master. So, what does it mean to receive the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee? Well, of course, it could mean the physical dust. Bhaktapada Duli, Bhaktapada Jal. Chaitanya Charitamrita says Bhaktapada Duli, the dust from the feet of a pure devotee. Bhaktapada Jal, the water that has washed the feet of a pure devotee. And Bhakta Utishta, the remnants of food left by a pure devotee. 18, these three substances are very powerful. So it could refer to the physical dust, but more generally it would refer to the instructions of the pure devotee. We receive the mercy of the pure devotee in the form of his or her instructions. And then it is up to us to follow the instructions. And that's how we get the mercy, multi-mercy. Receiving an instruction is the devotee's mercy, and by following the instruction, or even attempting to follow the instruction, one gets more mercy. Once in Bombay, a disciple asked Srila Prabhupada for his mercy that he may follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions. And Srila Prabhupada curled his lips in disgust. And he said, my mercy is that I've given you the instruction. Now it's up to you to follow it. And he gave the example that someone is in the bottom of a well, and someone else hands down a rope to pull that person out of the well. So he said it's as if the person at the bottom of the well is praying, please make my fingers curl around the rope. Please give me your mercy that my fingers may curl around the rope. So the deliverer's mercy is that he's sending down the rope and he's willing to pull you up, but you have to hold on to it. And you have to follow the instructions. Maharaj Rahugana inquired from the great saint Jad Bharat as to how he had attained such a liberated stage of a Paramahamsa. And in answer, the great saint replied as follows. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:12. Rahuganaitat tapasanayati na chejaya nirvapanad grihadva na chandasanai vajalagni suryayar vina mahatpadarajo vishekam. O King Rahugana, the perfectional stage of devotional service or the Paramahansa stage of life, cannot be attained unless one is blessed by the dust of the feet of great devotees. And the dust of the feet of great devotees is in italics for emphasis. It is never attained by tapasya, austerity, the Vedic worshipping process, acceptance of the renounced order of life, the discharge of the duties of household life, the chanting of the Vedic hymns, or the performance of penance in the hot sun, within cold water, or before the blazing fire. So these are all different practices that are meant to help one advance spiritually, but one cannot attain the perfectional state by any of those processes. One can attain the Paramahansa stage of life only if one is blessed by the dust of the feet of great devotees. Mahat. Mahat means great devotee. Pada means foot. Raja means dust. And it says, Mahat Pada Rajobhishekam. Abhishekam means you have to bathe yourself in the dust, the feet of the pure devotee. Then you can attain spiritual perfection. In other words, Lord Sri Krishna is the property of his pure, unconditional devotees. And as such, only the devotees can deliver Krishna to another devotee. So Srila Prabhupada demonstrated this principle very dramatically and vividly in relation to probably at the time, maybe a 3-year-old girl named Saraswati, who was the daughter of Shamsundar and Malati. The background is that I had gone to Madras. I was the first ISKCON devotee to go there. And I was, preaching and meeting important people and cultivating relationships with them. And then eventually I arranged a program for Srila Prabhupada there, and he came. So one of the people I was cultivating was the Chief Justice of the High Court in Madras. And the Chief Justice arranged a program for Srila Prabhupada in a grounds near his home. And there he invited, all judges and advocates, solicitors. And during his talk, Srila Prabhupada requested them to join the movement. And he gave the example of the 6 Goswamis, who were very highly placed in society, but they left everything. They left everything as insignificant and joined Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So after the program, Srila Prabhupada and the devotees went to the Chief Justice's home, to spend some time with him and have prasad. And the Chief Justice presented Srila Prabhupada with a small silver figurine of Krishna. And also in speaking about the six Goswamis, Srila Prabhupada had discussed the mood of separation. So Srila Prabhupada was sitting on a seat, while the disciples were on the floor. And Saraswati was maybe 2 or 3. So Srila Prabhupada held this little statue of Krishna in front of her. And she, was like very attractive. It was Krishna, and it was silver, and it was in Prabhupada's hand. So Srila Prabhupada said, Saraswati, who is this? And she said, it's Krishna. So then he moved the little figurine behind his back, and he said, Saraswati, where is Krishna? But she couldn't see Krishna. So she's like moving around, all the devotees looking. She couldn't find Krishna. So then Srila Prabhupada again sort of reminded her, Saraswati, where is Krishna? And again, that anxiety, where is Krishna? She's like looking, couldn't find Krishna, and she was really anxious. So then Malati Devi said, Saraswati, who has Krishna? And then her, eyes lit up, and she said, Prabhupada has Krishna. And then she went running up to Prabhupada, and then he took the little figurine of Krishna out and placed it in front of her. So through this episode, he was demonstrating that mood of separation of the six Goswamis, that when one is like so anxious to see Krishna, then Krishna appears. But he was also illustrating another point, as stated here. Lord Sri Krishna is the property of his pure, unconditional devotees. And as such, only the devotee can deliver Krishna to another devotee. Krishna is never obtainable directly. Lord Chaitanya therefore designated himself as Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Das Anudasa, for the most obedient servant of the servants of the Lord, who maintains the Gopi damsels at Vrindavan. So that is our actual position, our actual identity. In the beginning of this verse, Lord Chaitanya says, I'm not a brahmachari, I'm not a grihasta, I'm not a vanaprastha, I'm not a sannyasi, I'm not a brahman, I'm not a kshatriya, I'm not a vaishya, I'm not a sudra. None of those things. But Gopi Bharti Padaka Mayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa. That's the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, the maintainer of the Gopis of Vrindavan. And in one talk that Srila Prabhupada gave in Detroit, he was making that same point about being the servant of the servant of the servant, and he said, the more you become the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, the sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and sweeter Krishna consciousness becomes. It is said that the material world is a perverted reflection or inverted reflection of the spiritual world. So everything that exists in the material world exists originally in the spiritual world. So so there's pride in the material world. So what is the pride in the spiritual world? The pride in the spiritual world is that I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. I'm the last in the line. That means I have the most masters. And that is the devotee's pride. I'm the last servant in the line. I have the most masters. A pure devotee therefore never approaches the Lord directly, but tries to please the servant of the Lord's servants, and thus the Lord becomes pleased. And only then can the devotee relish the taste of the tulsi leaves stuck on his lotus feet. In the Brahma Samhita it is said that the Lord is never to be found by becoming a great scholar of the Vedic literatures, but he is very easily approachable through his pure devotee. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabha atma bhakta. Vedeshu durlabham, very difficult to achieve through the study of the Vedas, but Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham, but easily attained atma bhakta through the devotee. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the Supreme Whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees. And once she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. So in the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada explains that, Rupa Goswami lists 64 qualities of Krishna, and one of them is compassion. And Srila Prabhupada explains that the compassionate nature of Krishna is represented by Srimati Radharani. That because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's hard to approach him. But devotees can approach him through Srimati Radharani, who represents his compassionate nature. And once she recommends a devotee to Krishna, Krishna will accept that devotee. In Varshana, which is the place of Srimati Radharani, they have a saying that whatever Radha does, Krishna likes. And whatever Radha likes, Krishna does. So if she wants that Krishna accepts as a devotee, then Krishna will do it. The conclusion is, therefore, that one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly. And by one's doing so, by the goodwill of the devotee, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. So it's not just that one wants to be admitted into Krishna's association. I mean, one has to be eager for Krishna's service, and by serving the servants of Krishna, one's attraction for Krishna's service will be revived. It is said that one develops the qualities of a person that one serves, as we discussed yesterday. Mahad Seva Dwara Mahorji Mukti, by serving great souls, the door to liberation is open. Tamo Dwara Yoshita Sanghi Sangam, and that by serving materialistic people, the door to hell is open. So, so by serving devotees, we develop the qualities of the devotees whom we serve, and that includes, attraction for the service of the Lord, attraction for hearing and chanting about Krishna, and all of their good qualities. So, as Srila Prabhupada said, that he formed the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people a chance to associate with devotees and thus become devotees themselves. And everyone here has benefited by associating with that society, and so now we should be good devotees and help others get that benefit. Hare Krishna. So are there any questions or comments? Yes?
This was emphasizing service to devotees.
Yes.
And you mentioned in your talk that service is of two types. One is to the form, and the other is to the instructions of the devotee.
Yes, that's true.
I think serving the instruction is important. So my question was that when we serve the instructions of the devotee is to serve the Lord. I mean, so if Prabhupada or somebody spiritual master gives an instruction, it is to engage the devotee in Krishna's service. So it's kind of, okay, it's an instruction that serving the Lord, but also serving the devotee's instruction. So how does the devotee will give you instruction to engage in the Lord's service?
Did everyone hear, or should I repeat it?
Repeat, please.
No. So he says that this verse and purport emphasize serving the devotees, and that one can serve them by vani, that means following their instructions, or by vapu, their personal bodies. And I mean, he didn't say, but I'm adding that Srila Prabhupada says that, in the presence of the spiritual master, one should serve his body, and then when the spiritual master is no longer present, one should serve his instructions. So his question is that the devotee will instruct us to serve the Lord, which is true. But my response is that there's a method to serve the Lord, and the method to serve the Lord is not to try to serve the Lord directly. So even though he does tell us to serve the Lord, but he tells us the method by which we serve the Lord, which is through parampara, by serving the servants. So we can't escape that. Even in the spiritual world, we won't serve Krishna directly, but we'll serve him under some of Krishna's eternal associates. So even in the spiritual world, there's like parampara. So that's just the way it works. So. I mean, we do have a direct relationship with Krishna, but even though we have a direct relationship with Krishna, but still we serve him under the guidance or supervision of his eternal associates. Does that answer your question? Or any other questions or comments? Yes?
It's not related to philosophy, but the initial part of the discussion was trying to ask. When the ghost, you said, like it appears to living person's body and then try to fulfill its desires or something. So is it applicable for the devotees who chants Hare Krishna mantra and tries to practice and follow anything? They will also get affected by the ghost influence?
Well, ghosts can attack devotees. You can experience it, but the way to shake off the ghost's influence is to chant the holy name. Of course, Srila Prabhupada did say that if one's mind is weaker, then he's more likely to be attacked by ghosts. But even devotees can be attacked by ghosts, and the solution is to chant the holy name.
Is it not just attacking or something like that, but even if the ghost wants to convey something, will it happen through the devotees also?
Oh yeah, well that's another point. I hope I'm understanding it correctly. But one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples told Srila Prabhupada that sometimes he gets like crazy thoughts in his mind. He thinks of doing things that in his right consciousness he would never think of doing. And is it possible that, that a ghost is influencing him to have those thoughts? And Srila Prabhupada says, yes. it is possible. And in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami has composed a beautiful verse, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Yavat, which means, and then he said Pisacha, which means it goes. So the meaning of the verse is Bhukti Mukti Siddhi, that the desires for material enjoyment or impersonal liberation or mystic perfection, the one who has those desires is like a person who's haunted by a ghost. Because our real nature is to want to serve Krishna. It's not our natural position to want to enjoy the senses or achieve impersonal liberation or enjoy mystic perfections. So he says that persons who have those desires are like someone haunted by a ghost, because by the influence of a ghost, one desires things that he or she really doesn't want. And so in our original pure state, we don't want material enjoyment or impersonal liberation. So it's like being haunted by a ghost to have those desires.
So sometimes we hear devotees also commit suicide.
Yes, they do.
So what is their destination like? Because you mentioned that those who have material desires and they commit suicide, they really don't want a body, so they get a ghostly body.
Yeah.
Those who have chanted Hare Krishna and somehow or some person commits suicide, then what?
Yeah, well, it's hard to say. Of course, I'm going to take this to another level, just for the sake of the discussion. And that is, Lord Chaitanya had a disciple named Chota Haridas, Junior Haridas. And Junior Haridas is a very good kirtan singer, but he was in the renounced order, and he looked lustfully at the daughter of a pure devotee of Lord Chaitanya. And as a result, Lord Chaitanya rejected him. And so eventually, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya appealed to him, not to be so harsh with Junior Haridas, but Lord Chaitanya was adamant. And eventually that devotee went to the Triveni in Allahabad, confluence of the Ganges and Jamuna and Saraswati, and committed suicide. So when the devotees informed Lord Chaitanya about what happened, he said, "Good. That's the proper atonement." But although outwardly Lord Chaitanya was displeased with him, but Junior Haridas would come in his subtle form and sing for Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya would relish his kirtan. So Srila Prabhupada had a disciple who was a sannyasi who fell down. And on a morning walking by, poor he asked Srila Prabhupada, should a sannyasi who has fallen down do what Junior Haridas did and commit suicide at the Triveni? And Srila Prabhupada said yes, but then he went on to qualify that, we wouldn't do that, in the consideration of remaining alive to do service. But when that disciple heard just the first part, that Prabhupada said yes, so he dropped behind out of that group that was following Srila Prabhupada on his morning walk. And he decided he was going to go to the Triveni and commit suicide, which he did. Later, devotees went there, and sadhus told them that yes, a foreigner came, and I guess he had them tie rocks to him, so he wouldn't float and he'd drown himself. So, when Srila Prabhupada was asked about his destination, he said that it really depends on the consciousness. If it was done, if he did it in the mood of separation, then yeah, he would be giving up his body in Krishna consciousness. But if he was doing it in the mood of whatever atonement or even disappointment, then that would be a different case. So, yeah, it happens, devotees do commit suicide. This was a sort of a more exceptional case. They do. And, but I think of course, the basic rule is that you get your next birth according to your thoughts at the time of death. But it's also, it's very possible that a devotee who commits suicide could be degraded. Or you can just try to pray for them. Yeah. I know devotee parents whose children have committed suicide. It's a very painful situation. All you have to just pray for them. Yeah. Well, if a devotee gives up being a devotee and engages in grossly sinful activities, he could go to hell. There is the idea that whatever one does, there's no diminution or loss. So, generally, what Srila Prabhupada says is that they'll take a low birth, but they'll still have a chance to continue in devotional service in the next life, even though they take a low birth. It's in a purport in the Nectar of Instruction.
So is a sin, let's say we know things and we commit sinful activity, and we don't know and we commit a sinful activity. Are the reactions different for the two different kinds of people? Like if I don't know, if I never know that okay, breaking regulatory principles is a sinful activity, and I break that. And like here, many people don't know meat eating is bad, so they are eating meat, and a devotee may do something like that, knowing, I mean, for whatever reason. So, does the reaction vary from the person who doesn't know the person who knows?
Why are you asking that question? I'm just curious.
I'm asking because, because I know so many things now, so I ought to be more careful than the person who doesn't know. So I'm asking for myself, or is that like more?
Yeah. Well, yeah, as I say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So if you're ignorant, you're punished. But if you have the knowledge, you have greater responsibility to act accordingly. And so, but yeah. So if you have the knowledge and you act sinfully, I mean, in one sense, it's worse. But in the others, from another angle, you got the knowledge by associating with devotees. That means you got some mercy of devotees. So, in that sense, although the reaction might be the same, it could even be worse. But the context of the reaction is better. Like Srila Prabhupada gives the example that if an ordinary person commits a crime, he'll be punished. And if the son of the king commits a crime, he'll also be punished by the king. But the ordinary person is just getting the reactions to his karma. There's no personal superintendence. But in the case of a devotee, although he does get a reaction, he gets a punishment, but it's under the direct supervision of the Lord, like the son of the king. And therefore the context, the ordinary person, just like mechanical, is just getting action and reaction, but the context for a devotee, for the son of the king, is that it's meant to help him become purified and make further progress. So the punishment is also mercy in that context. Even though it's painful, but it's meant to help the fallen devotee become purified. Right, so what is next? Breakfast prasadam. Okay, breakfast prasadam. So, so would someone like to lead the prayer, or do you do it when the food is in front of you?
Mahaprasade Govinde,
Mahaprasade Govinde,